Oh, great. Pardon me. All right, we are at 4 o'clock, so I will call to order Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners Committee of the Whole meeting for April the 1st, 2025. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner DeLue.
Here.
Commissioner Gisler.
Here.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Heffler.
Here.
Commissioner Mazer.
Here.
Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Ray.
Present.
Chair Strebs.
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor.
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler. Here. 8 present.
Thank you, Clerk. And I did receive communication from Commissioner Morales. She had a exam this afternoon, so she should be with us later for our second session. All right. This time we'll move to our opportunity for public comment. This is a time for members of the public to address the board on any topic that you'd like. You come to the podium. Please tell us your name and where you're from. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Your time is displayed, and once your 3 minutes are up, your time to speak is finished. This is a time to provide input in a professional and respectful manner. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment? Come join us. Please come forward. No. You'll see a button on the podium with a little person to turn your mic on. Try it. There.
All right.
You got it.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Clarence Lloyd. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I serve as the director for the Southwest Michigan First Chamber, and I stand before you today as a representative and advocate for the small business community across Kalamazoo County. I'm here in strong support of moving forward with the plans to develop an indoor youth sports facility inside Kalamazoo County, an investment that will bring economic and community benefits, both in terms of future viability of our small businesses and their ability to create good paying jobs for community residents across a variety of fields. The data clearly show that youth sports tourism is a strong, impactful, and growing industry here, and the numbers speak for themselves. Families travel, they stay in local hotels, they eat at restaurants, and while they're here, they are supporting our local community small businesses. The success of our locally owned businesses depend on steady foot traffic and sustained visitor spending, both of which this facility would generate. And as you can hear and see in the news, small businesses need our support more than ever. In a region like ours, where small businesses, especially in dining and retail, are already navigating some of the toughest economic conditions in recent memory, the impact of a facility like this cannot be overstated. What an exciting opportunity we have to be in a position with such a powerful tool and an ability to wield it. Rest assured, this is about more than just dollars. An indoor sports complex will be an asset that would enhance the quality of life for residents and attract new families to the area. People who come to live here visit first, whether for education, for work, or when visiting a first-class facility like the one being proposed. people who visit here come back. This would also give local youth greater access to year-round athletic opportunities, open doors for students, experiential learning, and workforce development in fields like sports management and hospitality, among others. In a time where people are increasingly looking for and defining their third space, we have a wonderful opportunity to create a community gathering place that fosters connection, not to mention the health benefits many of our residents seek. These types of investments don't just drive revenue, they help define our region. Projects like this become a part of our local story. They become a source of pride, a reason for people to visit, and yet another way to define our own narrative and keep Kalamazoo on the map as a great place not only to build a business, but a community. As a small business community leader myself, I strongly encourage this commission to move forward with this project. It is a timely and forward-thinking investment in our economy, our businesses, and most importantly, in our community. Let's take advantage of this rare opportunity to have an asset that no other community near us has. Thank you for your time and for your leadership in shaping a stronger Kalamazoo.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd. Anyone else wishing to comment? Please join us. Welcome. Same thing, you find the little button with the person on it in front of you. There you go.
Right here? Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Rashawn Palmer. I'm happy to be here today to represent Young Kings and Queens as their executive director. I'm here to discuss a critical issue facing our youth today, affordable housing and financial empowerment, specifically for youth aged 18 to 24. The transition to adulthood is challenging for young people who lack stable housing, family support, or financial resources. That's why our organization provides a vital service through our Bridges housing program. And we offer 12 to 24 months of safe, affordable housing for youth who are striving to build a secure future. But housing alone isn't enough. We also provide the tools necessary for long-term success. During their time in Bridges, our residents participate in weekly financial literacy classes and receive bi-weekly one-on-one success coaching. These sessions equip them with the essential skills such as budgeting, credit management, and saving strategies and career development. Our goal is simple: to break the cycle of instability and prepare these young adults for self-sufficiency. We are grateful for the $400,000 that has been allocated to us in funding to expand our program's impact by constructing 4 additional tiny homes on our property and establishing a mobile classroom that will serve as an educational hub for our residents and the youth that attend our program. This initiative will not increase our housing capacity, but will provide a dedicated space for financial education and workforce training and mentor programs. Unfortunately, our project has been delayed because we have been unable to secure the full amount of funding necessary to go forward with the original mixed-use facility plan. We are asking the county to allow us to pull down funds for a revamped plan that will still meet the 4 units of housing we have, but instead of apartments, there will be tiny homes, and instead of the boxing ring, we will replace it with a mobile classroom. The county specified that they will be, that they would be the last ones to pay. And with only a year and 8 months left of this funding, we have to use the funds as quick as possible. We want to ensure that we can use this funding to complete the entire project, from the tiny houses to the classroom space. With your support, we can house more young adults in need and ensure that they have skills to thrive beyond our program. This investment is not just in brick and mortar, it is in the future of our community. By providing stable housing and financial education, we are setting these young people on a path toward independence, employment, and long-term success. I urge you stand with us in this mission together. We can empower our youth, strengthen our communities, and create lasting change. Thank you for your time and your commitment to making a difference. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. Welcome. You got it, good.
Okay. Good afternoon, and thank you for your time today. My name is Destiny. I'm 20 years old, and I'm currently the Community Outreach Director for Young Kings and Queens, a youth-led, youth-ran, and youth-serving nonprofit striving to empower youth. I'm here on behalf of our Bridges Housing Program. First and foremost, we want to express our gratitude for your commitment to expanding access to stable and affording housing in Kalamazoo County. Your generous $400,000 contribution was an important step toward providing safe and affordable housing for young adults in need, and we truly appreciate your support. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, our original project has been delayed because we were unable to obtain the full amount needed for construction. Since the county specified that these funds would be the final portion of our budget, we have not been able to move forward as planned. Now, with only a year and 8 months left to use this funding, we must act quickly to ensure that this investment still serves its purpose. That's why we are here today to request approval to reallocate these funds to fully cover the cost of our tiny homes project. This project aligns directly with the mission of Bridges, providing young adults with safe, stable housing while equipping them with the tools to achieve long-term economic stability. With your approval, we can move forward with this immediately, ensuring that these funds directly benefit the young people who need it the most. This initiative is not just about housing. It's about creating opportunities, fostering security, and building a stronger future for young adults in Kalamazoo. By allowing us to redirect this funding, you are making it possible for us to deliver a solution that will have an immediate and lasting impact. We appreciate your time and continued support. Thank you.
Thank you, Destiny. Welcome to you. Your mic is still on.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Michaela Augustine. I'm the Director of Sales for Millennium Restaurant Group. I'm here in strong support of the youth sports facility. This facility will bring additional youth and visitors to our area and grow the sports. We have 3 colleges in the area: Western, K College, and KVCC. This will continue to build the sports community, and it makes sense for the students, families, and the Kalamazoo community on whole. Investing in our youth will continue their passion through college and potentially stay here to play sports. We currently have the USDA youth tournament here yearly. Why not expand the tournaments with more sports facilities and opportunities through this opportunity? The visitors come to Kalamazoo for sports and will provide a positive economic impact for not only the hospitality industry, but also as a community as a whole. As a previous high school athlete traveling to other cities for sports, Kalamazoo did not have the same level as facility for their sporting areas as such as Grand Rapids. The new facility will bring families to explore the area, dine out, and grow in Kalamazoo. Dining out before and after sporting events was one of my favorite memories growing up as a kid and during my sports of playing lacrosse when we traveled around. Sporting events are known to boost the hospitality industry either in person or television. Many dine out before, during, or after their events. Again, when I played lacrosse, my family always dined out afterwards. It was something we enjoyed. Team events, family dining, and peer dining before or after sporting events occur weekly. The sporting facility would boost the restaurant industry in the area and our community, which would boost the community and hospitality. Millennium Restaurant Group has 7 restaurants in the area, plus a catering department and Kitty Hawk Cafe in Kalamazoo. We serve the youth community on a weekly basis, either through catering a sports dinner, hosting a school event at Kitty Hawk at the Air Zoo, or hosting homecoming and snowcoming formal dinners. The new facility will allow restaurants to continue to grow the team morale with team lunches, dinners throughout the community. I want to say we strongly encourage and to move forward with the sporting facility in the Kalamazoo area. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Welcome to you. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Dante Hudson. I'm the Director of Operations for United Pursuit basketball program. A facility would be super beneficial to not only my program, but other programs in the area that service our youth, not just with sports, but just any and everything. We teach financial literacy, social emotional well-being, health and wellness through our program, just using basketball as the vehicle for that. We travel a lot for different tournaments, and everywhere we go, we kind of survey the landscape where, man, this would be perfect in Kalamazoo. We're right in the middle between Detroit and Chicago, 45 minutes from Grand Rapids, all these major cities where I feel like we could be the hub for basketball in this area in Southwest Michigan and in the Midwest. We just today, actually, we had to reach out to like 3 different gyms just to find the space to have practice for our team today. We have kids not only from Kalamazoo, but Grand Rapids, Battle Creek, Muskegon, even the Detroit area. So there's already an influx of athletes coming to our area to play basketball, and we want to be able to service them all without having to send anybody away. The opportunity is here. The economy would grow. I mean, we all know the logistics of it, but yeah, just to have that opportunity and something for these kids to be proud of as far as where they're from, especially from a basketball standpoint. There's enough athletes here where it's just going to continue to grow, and they need safe spaces to be able to play. Yeah, that's all I got.
Good. Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hudson. Anyone else wishing to make a public comment? Thank you. Welcome.
Hello. Jeff Brenneman, the chair of the Discover Kalamazoo board. Yes, you heard from me, I think, a few weeks ago, but I'm actually here filling in for our athletic director, Dan Bartholomew, who wanted to come to express his support from Bronco Athletics for the new indoor youth sports facility. But unfortunately, he's announcing at the moment a new women's basketball coach and planning for Frozen Four hockey at Western. Yay! We're very excited. But he did want me to fill in for him if I could, and so I'm not a good fill in for Dan Bartholomew, but I'll try my best. He wanted me to tell you how important this could be for WMU athletics for a couple reasons. One, volleyball and women's and men's basketball are very important sports for us. If this is an ability to attract talent from all over the Midwest for tournaments at this new facility, it gives us an opportunity to get those talented youth to campus. And we've always said, and it's true, if we get prospective students to visit campus, they love the campus, they love Kalamazoo, and they usually become Broncos. So it's just one more tool in our toolbox to recruit athletes, but maybe even just students to come to Western Michigan University in the future. So we would always like to be able to have that tool with this new facility. So thank you for your consideration of this important county-wide asset. It truly is a win for our hotels, our businesses, the university, Bronco Athletics, and everyone else. So thank you very much. Go Broncos.
And go Broncos. Thank you, Mr. Brenneman. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? Thank you. Welcome. You have to, I'm sorry, you have to push your button. It got turned off. There we go. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Maria Potts, and I'm a United Pursuit player and athlete. I personally play travel AAU, which is not only expensive, but also difficult with traveling all the time and trying to manage school and like other activities. There's a lot of opportunity to have tournaments closer to home if we had this facility, and it will help more of my friends and teammates participate. We fundraise a lot to pay for travel and fees to play. We have to go to far distances to play when I feel like Kalamazoo is in a great location to build our own place to have tournaments. It will also bring out a lot more opportunities for teens to be supported and doing positive activities.
Thank you, Ms. Potts. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? All right, seeing none. Dina, do we have anyone online?
Here we do that.
All right, with that, we will end our opportunity for public comment, and we'll move forward for our interviews for the Kalamazoo County Transportation Authority. Sorry, the KCTA. So we have tonight two incumbents that we're going to interview. We have Mr. Paul Eklund, who has joined us virtually. Dina, can you bring Mr. Eklund forward for us?
Yes, Chair, I have brought him over.
Thank you so much. Mr. Eklund, are you able to hear me?
There you go. Can you hear
There
me?
we go.
Okay.
Excellent. Hi, Mr. Eklund, welcome.
Glad
All
to
right,
be here.
thanks. Good. Thank you for taking the opportunity to be here. You've done this before, so I know we didn't interview you all that long ago, but just for the commission, our standard process is if they've interviewed within a year, and it's been just over a year for Mr. Eklund. So to be uniform, we're going to move him back through our process. So welcome again, Paul. I'm Commissioner Strebs. I'm going to chair our discussion. I'm representing District Number 2. And I'll just begin with our first question. So why are you interested in serving for another term on the KCTA?
Well, public transit is very important to me. I don't drive, so it's necessary for me to use public transit, be able to get around and have a sense of independence. It's also very important to a lot of the people I serve at Disability Network Southwest Michigan. A lot of those folks also rely on public transit to be able to get around, do medical appointments, get groceries, being able to visit friends, that sort of stuff, and go to businesses. Bottom line, it's an important factor to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Vice Chair, you want to take our second?
Sure. Share what you have learned from working with people from different cultures. Have you received training in diversity, equity, inclusion?
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, Disability Networks added an A to the end of that, so it's DEIA for accessibility. And I've served on a number of different committees, like for Imagine Kalamazoo 2035 and Oshtemo Thought Leadership, to be able to try to bring in various aspects of DEIA into the conversation, along with various aspects of how people can be served well that have disabilities. I also figured that with the diversity of people, if everybody was about the same, it would be rather boring to be able to have everybody just sort of be a monotone. Diversity actually gives a lot of spice to life.
How will you use what you have learned in your work with this advisory?
Well, I'd like to be able to continue to keep in touch with the people that use transit so I can see how effective it is in address any problems that come up.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Paul. I'm John Gisler. Good to see you again.
Good to see you
question
too.
I have for you is during your time on the advisory board, what's the advisory board accomplished and how did you help?
Well, going way back, about like 2026, we were working with the Metro on Friends of Transit, bringing up a large sort of spreadsheet of all the different things that people in the community wanted from transit, like being able to have late night service, weekend service, being able to improve bus stops. Because at that time, most of the bus stops was just a grassy patch or a mud hole in between the sidewalk and the curb. Wasn't very accessible. And one of the things we've done is being able to help Metro focus on some of that stuff. So anytime the city was doing sidewalk or street repairs, since all the heavy equipment was there, they just had to learn a new habit of including bus stops. And Kathy Schultz was one of their project managers that did a lot of that, along with Sean McBride.
Thank you, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Paul. Dale DeLue. Can you tell us what's the greatest strength you have brought to the advisory board, or what is the greatest accomplishment that has been achieved while you were on the board?
Well, the greatest strength, I think, is that I actually use public transit. There's a lot of people on the board that don't really use it. They have an interest in it, but they don't use it, especially on a regular basis. That gives me some sort of insight into some of the functionings of public transit, some of the difficulties maybe, that sort of thing. And one of the reasons why I think Sean McBride introduced Metro Link was because of the problems that it had for quickly having on-demand service, sort of like a Lyft or Uber. And it's starting to be rather effective, I think.
Totally agree with you. Lastly, Paul, do you have any questions for us?
I just wonder if you have any idea about the future of public transit, if it has any potential problems coming up, or if you see any sort of major benefits of it.
So thank you, Mr. Eklund. I guess I'll try to field that just as one of our voices on the board. But I think you have broad support from this body for public transit. We see it as a value for the community, for seniors, for people with low income, people with disabilities. And ultimately, it is a more sustainable way to move around the community as we've looked for ways to address climate change. I think there are, potential risks for transit. Funding at the federal and state level are looking tight, and transportation dollars are changing. And the way we collect gas tax also, the amount we collect through that is changing as more electric vehicles are driving. So those are challenges that we have to problem solve and overcome to ensure we have a good, effective transit system. So I hope that provided some context. I don't know if anyone else has anything.
Thank you.
Paul, you are and what you were able to accomplish with the two-tiered millage structure and the changing of the state law in order to do that and provide that service at two different levels. You are the future of transit in Michigan because of that. And I think that Kalamazoo is well served by Sean and his board. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Eklund, thank you so much for taking the time to go back through the interview process with us. We appreciate your interest and your service. The board will conduct another interview, we'll deliberate, make a determination, and then you'll have follow-up from administrative staff about what's occurring with your candidacy. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, we will move forward to our second interview for Mr. James Ayers, who's with us in person. Mr. Ayers, you're welcome to join us at the podium, or you can sit if you're more comfortable that way at the dais. Take your pleasure, please. Good, and you got the button. Excellent, thank you. Vice Chair, would you like to take the first question?
Why are you sorry, Mike. Why are you interested in serving for another term with this advisory board? This authority.
Thank you for the opportunity today. I'm interested in serving another term. Number one, because I enjoy it. It's a phenomenal board. Excellent colleagues, an amazing staff at Metro, a lot of people who are passionate about transit in the community. I think it would be amazing if Michigan could have a first in the state county where we were truly car optional, like that. Cars are expensive and present a lot of barriers in a number of ways. And an opportunity to continue to be a part of it would be amazing. It's also a big organization in the sense that there's a lot to learn. So with a year and some change, I really feel like I'm just getting started, and I would like to be able to roll what I've learned already forward into supporting the millages that are upcoming.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, our next one for you is, could you share what you've learned about working with people from different cultures, and have you received any training in diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've learned how many joyful things there are to share when we come together. I'm not a huge foodie. I have palate issues, but I love new music. I love trying new things. I love learning new ways to think about things and new ways of doing things. I've learned it can be challenging to navigate difference, and it takes humility and patience and grace to build a community of trust and respect. And I have had training. I went through the One Place Anti-Racism Primer for Institutions introductory course. I also started the intermediate course following that up. I unfortunately had to miss the last few sessions there due to work conflicts, so I can't claim to have completed both, but it's a really worthwhile course if anyone is interested.
Good, thank you for sharing. Commissioner Hepler, Vice Chair Pro Tem, take our next one.
Thank you, Chair. Caught me off guard.
Sorry
Sorry.
about that.
No, that's fine. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Jeff Epler, Commissioner for District 7. My question is, how will you use what you've learned in your work with the Advisory Board Authority?
I'll continue to be an advocate and spokesperson for transit in Kalamazoo County. We have, I think, a best in-state transit program here, and I'd like to use what I've learned to, like I said, support the upcoming millages, to continue to grow services as we figure out how to integrate MetroLink with the mainline service and Metro Connect, and really develop a comprehensive map to get everyone everywhere they need to go.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Abigail Wheeler. I represent District 4. My question is, excuse me, during your time on the authority, what has been the authority's best accomplishment and how did you help that?
Again, it is a big team and I am just a small part. It's if I say, how did I help? I am not claiming credit. In all humility, I am there to support. I bring consistent attendance. I read the packets. I participate in discussions. I participate in my subcommittee meetings and the full board meetings. I try to have a beginner's mind, active listening. I want to be a good steward of public funds and help to grow as part of a team. So I would just list some of these things that have happened, but again, I'm not. So rolling out microtransit, we're coming up on a year and it's going phenomenally. Navigating all the construction last year, fleet repair maintenance, annual budget, legislative breakfast, the jurisdictional outreach campaign I was part of the external relations. That was a big deal to get out to all the different jurisdictions. I think it really put us on a good springboard for the millage for this year and next year. And we had a zero findings triennial review by the FTA, and we continued to grow ridership and bounce back from the pandemic.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, James. Tammy Ray, I represent District 1. My question is, what is the greatest strength that you have brought or the greatest accomplishment while serving on the advisory board?
Thank you. Being part of the team and being a team player, I think, is a huge part of being part of the KCTA, CCTA boards. Commitment to the commitment I'm making here. I don't phone in, I don't call off, except when a couple times when I've absolutely been too ill. I think about the whole county and not about my neighborhood. I'm not turned off by the dry and nuts and bolts parts of administration. I administrate for a living. I like to bring that skill set of diving through spreadsheets. And I respect the division of responsibility between board governance and staff operations.
Awesome, thank you. And finally, do you have any questions for us?
I submitted a letter for review. I don't want to, this is not an opportunity for me, but I have strong feelings about that letter. I'm happy for follow up, but again, this is not my opportunity for grandstanding, and I recognize that. It's not the intention.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. We appreciate your time, your interest, your service. Again, the board, as I said to Mr. Eklund, will deliberate on your candidacy. We'll make a determination, and then you'll hear follow up or see what happens going forward.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you as well. Okay, so to bring this to discussion, so we have before us the two incumbents. The Board Appointments Committee reopened applications for our incumbents because there was, I guess, a failure from Metro potentially to notify them that they needed to reapply. Both of them have been appointed fairly recently to partial terms, so somewhat understandable. And just for the board, you know, we're working on the process, how the different bodies that volunteers are serving on are communicating to folks, to incumbents when it is time to reapply. So at this time, this is open for discussion. I'd entertain a motion. It's up to the body. Commissioner DeLu?
Well, based on the fact we have two incumbents and two openings, I make a motion to reappoint Mr. Eklund and Mr. Ayers to the KCTA.
Motion made by Commissioner DeLu, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Vice Chair Taylor?
Yeah, I appreciate what you were saying, Jen, about restructuring the process. I think it's needed. I'm just, as we're doing that, I don't want to give favoritism to incumbents. I think having new people in there all the time applying is good. So as you're going through that process, I guess that I'm not talking about the motion. So I just realized that. But yeah, as you go through that process, keep that in mind.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and I just lift up your comments to Commissioner DeLu on that Board Appointments Committee. All right, so any further discussion, Commissioner Gisler?
Yes, and this doesn't have anything to do with the motion either. I'll follow up on John's comments. And that is that there are some of our boards that do turn over anyway without waiting for an opening. There are people that leave town and have to go away and they give up their chair or their seat. And I want to make sure we don't do anything that's going to favor that nor inhibit it. But the idea that everybody has to wait, which I was sitting here, half asleep when John started to talk, and I thought he was just saying that you got to do it before that. Then no, you can. There will be some turnover anyway, as a natural course of events. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. I don't need a roll call here, do I? Do I need a roll call?
My apologies, ma'am. I had stepped out when the motion was made.
It's okay. This is a motion just to appoint two members to the KCTA.
I would recommend a roll call.
Thank you for your counsel. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Heffler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Stribbs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler.
Yes.
8 yes.
Excellent. That motion carries. Congratulations to Mr. Eklund and Ayers for their continued appointment and service. Okay. We will move forward to our next item, which is a review of accounts payable and payroll disbursements from Finance Director Ryan Post. Welcome.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. We have an accounts payable claim list totaling $4,254,430.77 is presented for review. Of this total, the Board of Commissioners asked to approve claims totaling $3,944,762.44. Payroll disbursements totaling $4,202,021.56 are presented for the March 28th general and March 31st elected payrolls. And with that, we welcome any questions from the Board of Commissioners.
Looks like another easy evening, Director Post. Thank you for your work. You're much appreciated. Okay, we'll move to our next item. Item number 5, the first of which is the Transitional Family Shelter Update from Housing Director Balkema. Welcome. Welcome, Director.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. My name is Mary Balkema, and on your agenda is a transitional family shelter update. So we have a brief update and a couple asks of the Commission this afternoon. So, as you know, we closed on the Country Inn and Suites on March 4, 2025, and our chair graciously showed up and signed all the paperwork. Next. We have contracted with Eben Marsh to do our engineering and architecture. So the site plan review is going on with the city of Kalamazoo for a change in use, some renovations and upgrades to the exterior. At this time, we don't have cost estimates for the projects that were not included in the purchase of the property. We're working through that process. Necessary upgrades that were included in the purchase of the property are fire suppression, the fence, and the playground. Here's some more necessary upgrades. The kitchen, the current kitchen and dining will not meet the demand when the facility is operational. Some additional office space for the facility staff, filling into the pool and redesign of the pool area for a childcare room, and landscaping specifically to meet the site plan approval. So our architect is working through the design. There's some optional upgrades that the board could consider. One could be a satellite office for the housing department, which will allow the facility to meet the current city of Kalamazoo zoning standards. Solar panels, the majority of utility costs are electric, and then a parking lot, mill, and resurface. We found the plans to the hotel. You know, it was built in 1966, so this just shows you the layout of the hotel. We have an RFP out for a service provider. As you know, the RFP was published on March 17. We sent out a media release on March 27. The proposals are due April 21st. And what we are asking is that 2 commissioners volunteer to be on the selection committee to review and score the responses to the RFP. So if you're so inclined or so interested, if you would tell Kevin, that would be great. We have fundraising efforts going on, as you well know. County staff is exploring a community collaborative with the United Way of South Central Michigan and the Kalamazoo Community Foundation to set up a fundraising account. More information will be presented to the board at a later date. The Irving S. Gilmore Foundation is scheduled for consideration a $300,000 grant at their May 20 board meeting. And the county has submitted a grant to the Kalamazoo Community Foundation for $175,000 annually over 3 years for operational costs. A couple of months ago, Kevin brought in Well-Designed Studio at a director's meeting, and they are doing design work for the county. So I raised my paw quick and said, I think I could use that group. So we used the group to do branding for our hotel. So it's going to be called The Landing Place. It's a soft landing for families with children to get back on their feet. And the bird is a mama bird and a baby bird. So this is the logo that was picked with board leadership, our PIO, and our creative design expert, Well-Designed Studio. This is what it will look like on the sign. The sign is white right now, but we are, because the Country Inn and Suites was taken down, but this is what it will look like going forward. Our PIO, Taylor Koopman, has been working very hard on our website and the transparency and the branding. So we collaborated on the creation of a new website for the project. It allows the public to sign up for updates. There is a press release that is going to go out right after this meeting, and the website will go live tomorrow. So the community has had a lot of interest in this project. We've gotten a lot of feedback, and we thought the best way to get constant updates would be to put it on the website so folks could go right there. And Taylor, I'd really like to recognize her. She's done a yeoman's job at putting all this together. The website features will have the project timeline, information on the issues being addressed, common misconceptions, addressing concerns around sheltering, affordable housing. So we'll have myth versus facts, why this matters in our community, why the board had foresight to fund it. So we will have all of that, the growing crisis in Kalamazoo County, how many kids are homeless in Kalamazoo County, just some of the facts, and then we'll try to get ahead of some of the misconceptions that are out there as well. So with that, my only ask is that you kindly tell our administrator if you're interested to be on the scoring committee. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, you, Director Belkma, and your team, to Willa as well. Are there any questions from the commissioners? Thank you very much. Looks beautiful. We love the branding very much. Yeah, great. All right. We'll move next to the ARPA Awards status update from Administrator Controller Catlin.
All right, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners, audience. We just had that fantastic presentation. Now I have the pleasure of sharing some doom and gloom, so just bear with me. So what you have before you tonight and in the packet was a reconciliation report through March 31st, 2025. So it's fairly up to date. And what we did was highlighted some items in red that I'm still following up on grantees about to obtain more information on why their projects seem to be stalled or and they just have large balances that are accrued or rather remaining in their award. So we can kind of walk through some of these and I can give you some background information on some of the ones that I have highlighted in red. And if you have questions about other items on the list, I'm happy to answer those as well. The first one under the under internal ARPA awards is the Sunset Lake Dam reconstruction project. That's a project out of the Drain Commissioner's office. It is moving along, and I just have it highlighted in red just for informational purposes and awareness because I wanted to talk about it. That project is moving along. It's just tied up in a lot of regulatory processes through Eagle. And so they're working with the Village of Vicksburg through Eagle or with Eagle rather, and the EPA to ensure that they get through all the site planning and all of those sorts of processes that are required. And so they do plan on moving forward with that throughout the rest of this year and into next year to get that project done. Yes, Vice Chair. Sorry.
Yeah, did the Drain Commissioner give you a time that would finish? I see the first expenses was second quarter of 23, and we're now getting into second quarter of 25. So is there a time frame that you think that they'll be done with that? I guess my fear is that if it goes into next year or the year after and it's not appropriated, they could claw it back, correct? Or no?
Nope. So that is no. So we have already obligated the funding regardless. So on all of our ARPA reports, all of our funding is obligated. The Treasury cannot claw it back. What the board would be left with if this project is stalling and it continues to stall until I'd say mid next year, the board would need to reallocate it very quickly for a different purpose to actually spend it, because regardless, we have to have all the funding spent by December 31st, 2026. So now that's our new date that we're up against. All the funding must be spent by December 31st, 2026. So I'm glad you asked that question though, but his timeline as far as this project is to make pretty significant headway this year and then hopefully have it constructed by mid next year is what I've been told. Yes, Chair.
Do we have guidance from Treasury if the reallocating funds would demonstrate not having them obligated appropriately by the initial deadline that we were required to have them appropriated?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chair. So our ARPA consultant Guidehouse rendered advice, I'd say early last year in 2024, that obligating the funding was the requirement. Kind of shifting the funding around after its obligation is well within the terms of the ARPA final rule. Yep.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Continuing on, and we will speak with the sheriff's office about this, but we have funding in there for sheriff's office academy support. They are hiring sheriff's deputies. They do plan on using that funding, and I'm sure it will occur certainly before 2026, but we just have not had a chance to follow up with them on the timeline associated with that project. But they are in the midst of hiring additional staff. When we move to the external projects, the first one that we have highlighted in red is the Michigan State AFL-CIO. I did receive an email from them today, and they will be sending me an invoice very soon to finalize and close out that project. So we'll be on a good path with them. LISC, that's highlight. Oh, please, Vice Chair.
Sorry, I contacted the Michigan State AFL-CIO. It's not them, it's Michigan Works, which is a sort of a subsidiary kind of thing, but they have different leaderships and different boards. And so it's not quite the Michigan State AFL-CIO.
I appreciate that clarification. Yeah, so but they did reach out and they're on a good path. So we're not too concerned with them at this time. LISC, the Kalamazoo Small Business Grant Program. So they actually awarded, I believe it was one grant, and that was to Dessert First a little while ago. I believe sometime in late 2024. And so that's the only grant that they've dispersed at this time through that program. I do have a meeting set up with LISC. As you know, they do have a new executive director that began their position not too long ago. So we have a meeting set up with them to go over the grant and garner understanding of when, the timeline associated with that project. So more information to follow with them. We have then the Hollander Cal Recovery 1 and 2. That project will be underway. It's just highlighted, but we know that they're underway, and construction projects just take a while, but they do plan on spending that balance down by 2026, as well as the City of Portage Water Project, the $500,000. That's also going into essentially it's financing, providing financial support to build out infrastructure associated with the housing development and affordable housing development through a land trust that they're working on. The Young Kings and Queens project, and I have been discussing with board leadership about this project and Commissioner Ray, and I know that we heard from some of their representatives tonight. Kind of in between that, we had obviously heard the idea of them leveraging that funding, the $400,000 balance, to construct some tiny homes. We do believe that is possible, and sort of in partnership actually here with the housing director, she's able to was able to garner some information tonight that to construct one tiny home is about $150,000. As you know, or may not know, this $400,000 would be supplemental to funding that they receive through the housing millage as well, that could also be leveraged to construct those tiny homes. So if the board is amenable to that, we could work with them to leverage the $400,000 balance against against their housing millage dollars that they were awarded to construct those tiny homes, so that this $400,000 is spent accordingly. And so we can certainly work with them to do that, since they mentioned that project tonight. So Bryce, Chair.
Just really quick question. Have that Young's Kings and Queen, they've already gone through the portal then and already been awarded?
Yes, they were awarded, I believe, for this program. It was for a different purpose, but we could bring that proposal back to the board for reconsideration to allow them to expend the dollars on this other program they talked about tonight.
Oh, so we've already approved a tiny home project through the housing portal.
No, the $400,000 was for a different development. I need to pull their ARPA agreement really quick to inform me of what that was, but it was a different kind of a housing development, not a tiny home project development.
Okay.
Just to clarify, I mean, it was, and maybe Commissioner Ray will correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a multi-unit development that included like a boxing facility inside of it.
Okay.
They weren't able to solidify the capital stack to move forward with the construction. So now they'd like to pivot to a different construction model.
But that was just, I think I'm getting there. So that was the original ARPA award. There has not been through the portal, or this board hasn't authorized anything. So it would have to go through the portal as a process. I guess you're kind of, I mean, I have no problem with it, but it seems kind of like you're doing one before the other.
They had a housing millage award already.
For this project?
Yes, and an ARPA award.
Oh, that was my question. If they had a tiny home, and I thought it was no, but they do have a tiny home.
It was a multi-unit, and now they want to change it from a multi-unit development to tiny homes.
All right, I think I'm there now.
Sorry.
No problem. I was like hearing two different.
Yes.
Okay.
And I apologize. Yeah, when you said portal, I was thinking ARPA Amplifund portal, not the anyway. Yeah, we were both. Yeah, we were all saying the same thing. But yeah, I appreciate the question. Nonetheless, that proposal will come back to the board for consideration and approval. The Plaza Corp 619 LLC, as you know, that project is underway, right? Oh, now I forget the address. I know it's 619 Porter. Yeah, 619. I almost said, yeah, 619 Porter. So that project is underway. And as you see, late fourth quarter 2024, they did start drawing down funding. It took a while for us to get their funding kind of process under or I guess implemented, but now they'll be underway. We don't have any real concern with them, but it's just highlighted for situational awareness. The Vicksburg rehab housing project is underway, and they do plan on spending that money. I was just in contact with their city clerk, and they said they'll be submitting an invoice for a pretty large balance of that award. The housing or the Hollander development senior housing project, the Mount Zion project, that will be underway as well. It's just highlighted for situational awareness. That funding is also in tandem with housing millage dollars. And I believe there's actually 19 sources of funding in that project, but they plan on getting that project underway on the north side. Let's see, next we have the Vicksburg lead line replacement program. As you know, that project is underway as well. It's just a slow drawdown, but they are going to be drawn down that heavily this summer, I expect, and they'll be able to spend their 1.2 million. The Waukesha Township broadband project is highlighted just for situational awareness. I am working with Supervisor Gatlin on that, and they had some, I'd say, some turbulence, so to speak, with some vendors that are contractors they were working with, and now a different one has taken over the project. So we'll see some movement there, but I'm working with them to ensure that that stays on track. Let's see, the next that we have up is the W.E. Upjohn Institute, the broadband study. That study is nearly finalized. The reason why it's highlighted, because I know you're wondering, well, it's only about 80, well, not only, 84,000 is a lot of money. It's highlighted because since that project is just about complete, they believe that there will be a pretty significant balance remaining in that project. So that funding will need to, it's not reconciled all the way yet completely, but there will be a balance there that the board will need to reallocate to a different project. So I'll be working with Lee Adams at the W.E. Upjohn Institute to finalize that, and then we'll send that information to the board. And then lastly, just highlighted for situational awareness is the Alamo Township Road reconstruction project. That took a little while to have an addendum signed to have the project managed by the road commission directly. As you know, townships don't manage road projects, so they were awarded the funding, but now the road commission will be overseeing that project, and that should be complete yet this fall. So that entire balance should be drawn down as the project actually had increased well beyond $850,000. So they'll draw down on the entire balance. Happy to answer any other questions about the projects highlighted in red or those not highlighted in red.
Vice Chair.
Do we have I mean, I know that a lot of these projects are coming through and everyone's kind of a case by case basis, but do we have a general understanding of like how many zeros? I mean, is it going to be in the millions of dollars, or is it going to be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars for unspent ARPA that we're going to have to reallocate, or it's still too soon to tell?
I believe it's, so when you take a look at all of the internal projects, I believe pretty much all of the internal project funding will be spent down. I don't think that we'll have, I mean, it'll be probably in the tens of thousands of dollars, if anything. The external projects, I don't anticipate, as I've highlighted these in red, I don't anticipate, it'll probably be maybe in the hundreds of thousands, but I would say probably the low 200s, low 300s maybe, if there is funding that needs to be reallocated. And I'm glad actually that you asked the question, because it reminded me that I needed to go all the way back up to the guidehouse contract. That contract is on a time and materials basis. And if you notice, it's about the third line down from the top. There's about $51,000 remaining in that line item. I bring this to your attention because the board approved funding for foreclosure prevention assistance at the last board meeting. And we worked with Corporation Counsel as we were reminding ourselves about the process that we undertook and the last funding, I'd say, process that we allocated for foreclosure prevention. We cannot use, it has come to our attention that we cannot use general fund dollars to support foreclosure prevention. And that's why we leveraged ARPA the last time. There is an opportunity, I would say, in here within that guidehouse contract and probably even within other lines, as we kind of go throughout the rest of the year. But since this project is happening now, we need to make a decision. We could likely reduce the guidehouse allocation by $50,000 and allocate the $50,000 to foreclosure prevention. And that would be able to satisfy that program this year. And then we would have to decide how to proceed in future years. And I believe this is particularly the reason why the city of Kalamazoo leverages FFE dollars, because they don't use general fund dollars either to support that program because of the lawful expenditure statute in Michigan. So if the board is amenable to that, we can bring a proposal back to allocate ARPA dollars for foreclosure prevention at the April 15th meeting to allow the treasurer's office to continue in that endeavor by reducing the guidehouse contract down. And I don't anticipate at this time that we'll really need that guidehouse contract funding. We're almost basically through ARPA programming. We don't really need a lot of more assistance with it. So that's all I have for you.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Using that money in ARPA or out of ARPA for that, it would still need to be spent before December 26th. So is that a sufficient amount, or was that going to be too much and it wouldn't get spent?
No, that's a good question. So the treasurer's office at the last board meeting only requested $50,000 for 2025 for foreclosure prevention. So it would be spent all this year within a month, I would assume. So we should be all set if the board were able to allocate or award that $50,000.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Yeah, it's about 15 people's property taxes is really what it boils down to. It's not a large amount of money. But I'm okay because we don't have any other avenue for that rule that we have to use ARPA money for. So I'm okay with that. Just looking through this, I would like us to keep in consideration, if there are dollars that come back, that we keep in mind some of the needs that our municipality of Schoolcraft has asked us for. We look through here, we got Vicksburg line replacement, Sunset Dam. I mean, we spent about $4 or $5 million in Vicksburg, so of ARPA money. So I didn't realize that. But as we move forward, I'd like to keep that in mind as well.
Thank you. Administrator, I had just a couple of questions. There's a couple of others that didn't end up highlighted in red, but I don't see any drawdown on the expenses. So let me scroll here. This is a external project, gun violence ATA collaboration. Is that the new? So that one is a $200,000 allocation. I don't see anything expensed yet.
Yes, the great question. I know it's just a data collaboration. It's a typo in in Munis, but yes, that's part of the presentation that Griffin Place, that they delivered during the last board meeting. So there's potential funding in there to support the CIE program.
Thank you very much for clarifying that. Any other questions? Commissioner Wright?
Thank you, Chair. Just two questions. So do we get a final report from all of these organizations, businesses that we did award funding to, outside of the ones that we can see that they built apartment complexes or whatever, but there are a lot of organizations that we just haven't heard anything from, but then there's some that we require 6-month reports and different things like that. So I like to hear about some of these projects and what they did with the money. And then my second question, I wouldn't be opposed to the change in funding source for the foreclosure prevention. However, I'd like to know more about how folks are selected and how, the funding is being applied when some folks are still being foreclosed on in the city and we're helping with this, I don't recommend that we continue to support this year after year and then we still have people being foreclosed on. So I just like to hear more about the selection criteria and different things like that. Who, now that we're past the deadline, how many folks do we have that are being foreclosed on, and can those dollars be allocated to those properties specifically that are owner occupied, just so we don't have foreclosures in the county, and that we're not just, because I remember last year I want to say there was one that was like $20,000 was awarded to just like one property. I don't know if, I'm assuming it was owner occupied, but I feel like we still have folks being foreclosed on. Why are we supporting this? Can we see the data from last year? I just need to know a little bit more before I'm comfortable with us moving the funding from ARPA.
Absolutely, Chair or Commissioner Ray. You hit your mic, so that's why I said Chair. So, Commissioner Ray, yes. So to answer your first question, we originally actually were requiring ARPA reports on I think it was actually a quarterly basis to sort of align with the Treasury ARPA reports, but then the U.S. Treasury adopted language indicating that we didn't really need those reports anymore, that we could just basically submit financial information. So then I discontinued the reports. However, I don't believe that it's putting undue pressure on any of the grantees to ask them to submit some sort of a report on how they're kind of progressing in their projects and things of that nature. So we can send something out requesting that information and certainly share it with the board in due time. And then I did mention I have taken note of your comments related to foreclosure prevention and have been touching base with the treasurer, and he indicated that he would be coming up. And he's here. So I think anyway, I think if you would allow, he can answer some of those questions.
Treasurer, do you wish to speak to this? I'll entertain.
Thank you for the opportunity. What was the specific question? I'm sorry.
Thank you. We'll go back to Commissioner Ray. Would you like to pose those?
Thank you, Chair. So I guess I just want to understand a little bit about like the selection criteria. Today's April 1st. How do we get folks who are being foreclosed on owner occupied units, and we have this fund, right, where we're assisting in this way? So what is the selection criteria? Does someone have to call the office when you do outreach? If they don't call, like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to expand on this. So the selection criteria, we do need to actually talk to the person. We're not going to be applying funds to properties that we don't know the status of, because we do a massive amount of outreach throughout the year. We attempt to contact each parcel, I believe it's 26 times statutorily. And then we go above and beyond that throughout the 3 years that each tax year is in delinquency. And so the criteria for the hardship funds, which I included in the presentation, and I can send the specific outline to you, is off the top of my head that the person has gone through a specific hardship, and those are outlined in the criteria, the MOU that I sent over. But it's the death of the primary income owner, the loss of primary income due to medical disability or other hardships. I can't recall the full list, so I apologize for that. They have to have not received these dollars before, so these are one-time rescue funds, and they need to be a homeowner who occupies their home in the county of Kalamazoo. And so these aren't going outside of the county, and they need to be homeowner occupied properties, so they are not businesses, they are not rental properties, that kind of thing. But we do need to have an agreement in place with people. We need to have contacted them so that we can understand if they qualify or not through those other criteria. And then we usually put a foreclosure withhold on them just to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks and they end up foreclosing. And then we apply the funds when we are able to.
Okay, follow-up question. So the funds that we're referencing now, the 50K that has not been allocated to your office as of yet. So will these funds be applied to folks who are foreclosed on as of today, or do you already have this like allocated to other individuals?
No, these funds, if they were allocated today to my office, would be spread among or put towards the people who qualify, who are in greatest need that we have agreements in place with. So the foreclosure was final as of midnight last night. We reduced the foreclosure list down to, I believe, 44 as of today, 44 parcels. Of those parcels, I believe that 3 of them were occupied. And so every other parcel is either a vacant piece of land, a condemned, unlivable structure, or a vacant property. So that is, we would be working within the group of people that we already have agreements with, who are in significant financial hardship and without this assistance would not be able to pull themselves out of foreclosure and would be back in the same position next year.
Okay, so it pays for more than 1 year or just pays for 1 year? And then I have one more question, Jared.
If you would like to include a stipulation that it pays for just the 1 year, we can do that. I would prefer to pay for all outstanding years so that the people who we are making these agreements with, we typically help them get the poverty exemption so they don't have new taxes coming in. And if we pay for all outstanding years, then that puts them in a situation where they can get back on their feet without worrying about delinquent taxes ever again.
Okay, and then my final question, could these funds be used for the 3 occupied that we're foreclosing on as of today? It just doesn't make sense to me to foreclose on 3 people. 44, that's a good number. It's a low number. But 3, I don't feel like we should be foreclosing on anybody if we have the funding for this particular issue.
So this is a complicated issue I would want to discuss with counsel. And the reason there is because these are people that we attempted to reach out to multiple times. Like I said, more than the 26 legally obligated times, above and beyond that greatly, and never received any contact back from them until today, if they contacted us today. So this is a situation where we're now kind of in that area where the law has stuck us. The foreclosure is final. We didn't have an agreement in place. And so any exceptions there, I would want to work with counsel to make sure that we're on the right side of the law and we're not exposing the county to liability.
Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer. So I just want to dig in a little further. So explain to me, we have 26 times where we're required to make contact. What is the method of contact? Is it by mail? Is it? Because there must be something to learn though, because still some properties get through. And so what have we learned from that? What can be revised or improved if we can't address a home once it reaches foreclosure? And hopefully we can. But what can we do to improve that?
So we've actually been working on that in my office quite a bit. The 26 are the statutorily required 26. So those start with delinquent tax notices that are just standard mail to both the home and the taxpayer of record. Beyond that, there are multiple certified mailings that are sent to the homeowner, to the taxpayer of record, to other interested parties. There is the personal posting visits where people from my office or contractors go out and knock every single door that is in foreclosure and post signs on the property in prominent locations, usually the primary entrance to the property, that explain the situation and state, what's going on. There is.
Thank you. If I could right there, when that notice is posted, is just identifying them of a date the property is about to be foreclosed. Does it provide them any information about resourcing, about how to prevent that?
Yes, that has resourcing. So it has HRI, KNHS numbers for both Michigan, legal aid of Western Michigan. It has the number for my office to get in touch with us to create a payment plan. It has the number for Title Check, who does some of this service work, to contact them for payoffs and information. It has all of the necessary dates, including both the judicial foreclosure hearing and the show cause hearing, which is a hearing that I hold personally here at the admin building in January. It has a lot of information. It's all the payoffs for the tax year that is in danger of foreclosure and any older tax years as well.
Do you know if that's been evaluated to the literacy rate of the communication so that people who receive an overwhelming amount of information can understand what they've received so they can take appropriate action upon it?
So my understanding is that the content of that notice is mandated by law. And so the information that's on that notice is in compliance with the form that's set out by the legislature and state treasury.
Might there be an opportunity for subsequent notice that could be evaluated for literacy rate and provided to the homeowner?
Absolutely. And that's why we, this year especially, have stepped up our efforts with direct phone calls to homeowners who have delinquent taxes, with both robocalls and personal calls, text messages that are sent automatic, through a system to delinquent homeowners, as well as a second round of personal visits where I and members of my staff went out, knocked doors, and had conversations with taxpayers, and then posted a second notice, which is not legally required and took significant effort, but to post those on the properties as well, which are much simpler and simply state that the property is in danger of foreclosure. This is how much is owed. Get in touch with my office in order to stop the foreclosure, and here's how to do it. Very simple, very straightforward.
Good. Thank you for that. And if you're open to it, I would love to see an example of the second notice, and
absolutely, just
to provide feedback for you to consider, because maybe they still think they need to have all of that cash in hand before they call you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to provide that.
Any other questions? Commissioner Ray.
Sorry, just one final question. Did you receive FFE funding this year for foreclosure prevention as well?
We have not yet.
Okay. Are you supposed to though?
We have applied for it, or we're in talks with the city on getting that.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything further? Treasurer, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, any further updates, Administrator Catlin, on ARPA? We'll come back to the point of the agenda item.
No, nothing further. I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Any other outstanding ARPA questions? Okay, we'll move forward for a first reading for a proclamation recognizing April 2025 as Kalamazoo Valley Community College Month. Do we want to wait to read this into the record? Okay. Sounds like that's consensus there. And then we'll move to the next. It's a proclamation proclaiming March 29th, 2025 as First United Baptist Church and Pastor Lindsay Ebel Day. And we will take that forward for reading at a future time. Vice Chair.
And I want to just mention this to everybody. I tried to get a proclamation in. I was too late. They sent it to me. It's for Workers' Memorial Day, people that were killed on the job. It's April 28th. But in order to do the first 2 readings, we'd have to do it today. And then 2 weeks from now, is if the board is okay with us putting it in 2 weeks from now and doing both readings on that and suspending our bylaws for that one proclamation. Otherwise, I'm happy to read it into the record.
Madam Chair,
Council,
according to your bylaws or rules, section 5.5, initial presentation to committee of the whole. As a general practice, all items, except those which are solely ceremonial or ministerial in nature, shall first appear on the agenda of a committee of the whole for discussion or consideration. And essentially, that means that you could and do everything that you need to do today. That's what we used to call a walk-on, but you could do that because this is a ceremonial.
Yeah, it's non-controversial. It doesn't do anything except for thank the people that built our bridges and roads.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
thank you as well, Council. And I think by practice, we've just been making it a little extra complicated. All right, with that, that brings us to our last, we have no closed session before us. All right, anything else before the body? This time with that, we are adjourned. Good evening. I'm going to call to order the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for April 1st, 2025. Item 1 is invocation and reflection. We have for Commissioner Morales this evening. Your Honor, do you want to do the invocation or reflection?
So I read the agenda, but I ain't look at that part. But anyway, I just got some words of encouragement. Just want to encourage everyone to stay safe. These storms are hitting. Take care of your loved ones. And as we go through some difficult times, just let us all unite and know that this county board is doing our very best for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to item 3. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner DeLu,
Here.
Commissioner Gisler,
Here.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Here.
Commissioner Mazer,
Here.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray, Chair Strebs,
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Here.
You have 9 present.
Thank you, Clerk. We'll move to item 4, proclamations. We have anyone who'd like to read in item 2025-351, the request for approval, proclamation proclaiming March 2025 Red Cross Month? I'm sorry. It's up to you. Do you want?
I'll make a motion to approve the proclamation proclaiming March 2025 as Red Cross Month.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. The next proclamation, 2025-376. This was a request for approval of a proclamation proclaiming March 29th, First United Baptist Church and Pastor and Lindsay E. Bell Day. We are going to take this up at the next session when representatives of the body can be present. We wanted to move this forward, but we want to take it up at a time when they can be here for presentation with Commissioner Morales. All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move to item 5, which is communications. We have items 359, a letter from Men's Health Month regarding Men's Health Week proclamation request, an email from Vice Mayor Jean Hess supporting funding for a county indoor sports facility, and letters of support for bonding for the indoor sports facility. Do commissioners have any other communications they wish to enter? Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. So Lewis Walker Institute's 35th anniversary gala benefit will be on April 11 from 6 to 9 p.m. at the WMU Student Center. Dr. Karika Parker sent us some correspondence earlier today, but I wanted to highlight that. They have some awards won in honor of Dr. Don Cooney, Commissioner Cooney. So I just want everyone to think about attending. They have a new, I think it's executive director for that unit, and they just need some support to keep that part of the diversity of campus moving. So again, that is April 11, 6 to 9 p.m. At the WMU Student Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. Any others? Commissioner Gisler.
Yes, I may already be in there, but I'd like to make sure that the letter put on all of our desks tonight by James Ayers is in the communications section for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others, Commissioner? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward to item 6, approval of minutes, and entertain a motion. Request approval for the March 18th, 2025 Committee of the Whole and regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, my brain a second, supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll go to.
Madam Chair?
Yes, thank you, Council.
Prior to that, the public hearing is scheduled at 6:35 for the event financing. You could call that to order and adjourn it to the call of the chair. Thank you, Mel.
Thank you, Council. So as articulated by Council, do have a scheduled public hearing. I'm gonna articulate it in the right manner. Scheduled for 6:35. Flip through my right pages. We'll go to one more page, no, one more page back. Public hearing. Trying to read it, I'm so sorry. Just wanted to state it in the right manner. So public hearing for a proposed ordinance to establish an event center financing program and assessment district for Kalamazoo County. And at this time, I've called it and I'm going to adjourn it to the call of the chair. We'll take it up momentarily. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now we'll go to the approval of the agenda. Vice Chair.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion to the approve the agenda and then move. Let me get this right. Approve the agenda be amended so that item 10, unfinished business and general orders, and item 11, new business, no consent, respectively, may be considered before item 8, public comment. I'd also like to request that 2025 323 be pulled from the consent.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
I'll support.
Motion made by Vice Chair, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem to move agenda items 10 and 11 prior to public comment and the removal of agenda item 2025 323. Thank you. Any further discussion? Any additional changes? All right, seeing none, all those in favor for the approval of the agenda as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Okay, that brings us first then to item 10. We will then, I call back to order the public hearing for the Event Center Financing Program and Assessment District Ordinance. You have to take it.
I think you have to take a vote.
I called it to order.
Sorry. Madam Chair, you may wish Director Ghost just to give an overview of the ordinance one more time for the public, and then you can accept public comment.
Thank you. Council, do we need a motion to take the item back off the table as it had been previously?
Not right now, not until you're ready to vote for it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And with that, I would welcome forth Director Ghosh to provide comment.
Thank you very much, and thank you for adopting this on your agenda. As you know, this is a project we've been working on now for 3 years, and we are very excited about the opportunity that this can bring to our community. I've spoken to you all about the project, multiple times. One thing I haven't said, and I had an opportunity to meet with a small business owner, actually not so small business owner, the owner of One Well today, which was a small business and is now not such a small business. And in that conversation, we were talking about restaurants within the county that have thrived and some that haven't thrived, and I think we are all very sad as residents, for example, when a restaurant doesn't make it. As the leader of Discover Kalamazoo, while restaurants can survive or fail for multiple reasons, it always hurts just that little bit extra when a restaurant doesn't survive, because I wonder, what could we have done differently? What's one more group we could have brought into town? What is one more event we could have had here? What is one more way maybe we could have supported that restaurant to enable them to stay in business? And restaurants are just one example, but they are the largest source of visitor spending here in Kalamazoo County, and they are one of the primary ways that residents benefit from that visitor spending, because we would not have, for example, the thriving restaurant scene that we do here without the impact of visitor spending. We would not have the thriving performing arts scene we have here without the impact of visitor spending. And the reason that Discover Kalamazoo is so firmly behind this project is because we believe that this will have benefit to the residents of Kalamazoo County and have the cost of the program really paid for by the visitors to the community that will come to our community because we are able to host events at this facility. Are there any? Do any of the commissioners have any last questions for me that I can address?
I'm seeing none.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to enter a motion to remove from the, sorry.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. If there's anyone here for the public hearing who'd like to comment.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm anxious to move that motion to bring it from the table. So if there are other members of the public who wish to address or speak to the item here during the public hearing, please join us to the podium. Welcome.
Thank you. Make sure it's turned on. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Dave Morgan. I have the privilege of serving as the CEO of the YMCA of Greater Kalamazoo for the past 7 years. I appreciate this opportunity to speak today in support of the proposed indoor athletic facility. At the YMCA, we see firsthand the power of youth sports and how it shapes lives. Sport provides children with not just physical activity, they teach teamwork, discipline, and resilience. They give young people a sense of belonging, a place to grow, an opportunity to develop confidence that will serve them well into their adulthood. But access to quality athletic space is a growing challenge in nearly every community, including our own community. Investing in youth sports is an investment in the future of our community. Studies show that kids who participate in sports are more likely to excel in school, stay out of trouble, and develop lifelong healthy habits. On behalf of the YMCA and thousands of children and families we serve, I urge you to support this project. Together we can create a stronger, healthier, and more vibrant community. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Good. Thank you for your comment. Welcome. Come forward and join us.
Good evening. My name is Rich McDonald, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the Hinman Company, a regional real estate development firm based here in Kalamazoo County in Portage, Michigan. We own several hotels in West Michigan, including properties here in Kalamazoo County. And earlier this year, I submitted a letter of support for the proposed indoor sports facility, which I believe has been shared and may be part of the packet. We are in full support of both the proposed facility and the associated 4% assessment. The authors of Act 340 of 2020, the legislation enabling this assessment, I believe, intended for it to be paid by hotel guests, much like the current sales use tax. This ensures that the cost does not burden hotel owners, but rather charges the hotel guests similar to the current hotel use tax. And we believe that it can be done without any meaningful negative impact to hotel occupancy or average daily rate. The current sales and use tax combined with the new 4% assessment in total is generally consistent with other communities like Ann Arbor and Lansing, and still less than Detroit and Grand Rapids. The new regional sports facility is expected to generate 36,000 new room nights, which is a significant boost, especially since a large portion of these bookings will occur during the typically slower seasons of hotels, which can be down anywhere from 20 to 50% during those months, which is a positive for all of us in the hotel business. In fact, the revenue from these 36,000 room nights, mainly in the off season, will exceed the cost of the 4% assessment on all room nights over the course of the entire year by 20 to 30%. So from a hotelier's perspective, this isn't a loss leader. This is a revenue opportunity. The demand for amateur sports is only increasing. And by acting now to build this proposed facility, we expect to see the economic benefits of increased local spending. More importantly, we'll continue to position Kalamazoo County as a premier destination for sports and recreation, strengthening our reputation as a dynamic and vibrant community. And we look forward to welcoming new guests and visitors to Kalamazoo County as a result of this in our hotels. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to come forward? Yes, please join us. You're all right. Welcome to you.
My name is Fred Rami. I am the area manager with Nixera Capital, representing the Fairfield East and Kennelwood Suites off of Sprinkle Road. I'm here tonight in support of the proposed indoor sports facility. My properties host a variety of sports groups and see the benefit regardless of where in the county these events are held. The addition of basketball and volleyball, two sports our market is lacking, would be economically beneficial to all hotels as well as the community as a whole. Having these groups, especially in our off season and with the uncertainty of corporate travel these days, I feel would contribute to not only the success, but all the service industries in our market and attracting more visitors to Kalamazoo. I feel that even with the 4% assessment, Kalamazoo remains competitive. We plan to vote yes and encourage other hoteliers to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you for coming forward. Welcome.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jonathan James. I serve as the Community Engagement Manager at the Kalamazoo Promise, co-chair of the Board of Directors for Kalamazoo Youth Development Network, and also a member of the Coordinating Council for the Blueprint for Peace. I grew up in Kalamazoo. I still live here with my wife and our 3 sons. Our oldest participates in youth sports, and our youngest 2, we plan to also have them participate as well. Across all my roles, all my experiences growing up here, I've seen one consistent message, and that's that young people need safe, structured spaces to grow and thrive. Right now, we have a significant gap in indoor facilities, especially for basketball and volleyball. This is more than just a recreational issue. It's about community well-being, safety, and equity. This will create safe, structured environments for connection, mentorship, and personal growth. I support this plan and the assessment. I view it as a strategic investment in our future. Our young people deserve a space that reflects their potential, where they can thrive both on and off the court. Thank you for your time and for your leadership in helping youth thrive.
Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else? Seeing none. Dina, is there anyone online?
Here, there are no hands raised.
All right, thank you. At this time, we'll close the public hearing.
I move that to take from the table a proposed ordinance to establish an event center financing program and assessment district for Kalamazoo County and consider it read twice.
Motion made by Vice Chair, support by Vice Chair Pro Tem. Any further discussion on removing this from the table? Commissioner Kistler.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, my wife and I don't travel as much as we used to, but I guarantee you we never went somewhere because you could save 4% on the room rate. I don't think you even noticed that. There's all kinds of little things that if you pay $89 for a room and you're going to get a bill for like 104 or something like that, and you just accept that. So I don't see this as anything to be concerned about. And that implies that I stay in some very nice places.
Thank you, Commissioner Kistler. And just we're going to have a second opportunity for some debate on the ordinance itself. This motion is to remove it from the table. Any further discussion on that point? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. So now we can move forward, and I would entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt ordinance establishing an event center financing program and assessment district, that the clerk is hereby directed to publish the ordinance in the Kalamazoo Gazette.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Morales. Is there any further discussion? Vice Chair Taylor.
I would be remiss if I just didn't give a kudos to Jane. Thank you very much. This is an incredible opportunity for Kalamazoo County. 36,000. Usually when you're doing an assessment of 4%, you have hoteliers or people running up opposing it. They understand, as one gentleman said, this is a revenue generator as opposed to a loss leader. And I think your foresight and understanding the market really helped us get us to this place. So thank you, Jane.
Commissioner Morales.
Same sentiments. Thank you, Jane, and your team. I remember when we sat down and talked about this, so I'm excited for what it's going to bring to Kalamazoo County. And I'm excited to see some new folks in the area and grant these kids opportunities with everything that's going on. I'm hoping that they're so tired that all they want to do is go home and go to sleep, wake up and go to school the next day. So thanks again.
Anything further? All right, I will also share my thanks and congratulations to Jane, the team, the community, who has been very clear and turned out in advocacy, so good organizing and bringing all of the voices together. I always very much like when those who love numbers also attach with their feelings at the same time on a debate. All right, so with that, is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, clerk, would you please call the roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler.
Yes.
9 yes.
That motion carries. All right, congratulations. All right, we now move,
Madam Chair.
yes, Council. Oh, yes, thank you
Thank you.
so much. Yeah, too many pieces of paper for me to wield. So I just want to enter a statement on behalf of Kalamazoo County. So on March 4th, 2025, Kalamazoo County purchased a hotel located at 1912 East Kilgore Road in Kalamazoo County for use as transitional family housing. During the period between March 4th, 2025 and June 1st, 2025, the former owners of the hotel, under agreement with the county, will operate the facilities as an independent hotel. The county will take physical possession of the hotel on June 1st of 2025 to complete final renovations and upgrades in preparation for the opening of the transitional family shelter, and it will then no longer operate as a hotel. Therefore, based on these facts, the county has chosen not to respond to the referendum so as to avoid any appearance of impropriety. Vice Chair.
Question, is this is probably for Jane, is that gonna screw up our ratio or things, or does that just come off the top?
Through the chair, but yes, Director Ghosh, please. That's all right.
There are currently just shy of 3,500 rooms that will be voting. And with the property having approximately 80 rooms, that will represent about 2% of the vote. Obviously, we very much encourage all of our hotel partners to cast their ballot, as the referendum needs a 60% quorum of the rooms in order to participate. We do not believe that 2% of the rooms will make it difficult to achieve that quorum. Obviously, on April 29th, if we're not seeing the votes come in, I might feel differently, but that's, yeah, we appreciate and understand the county's position.
Good. Thank you for that clarification, Jane, and thank you for your question, Vice Chair. Any others? Okay. Now we'll move forward to item 11, new business or non-consent. First, call to order public. We have this one first too. Public hearing for Pavilion Investors LLC Brownfield Plan. And do we have anyone wishing to come forward to make comment? Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Hayner, and I'm here on behalf of Pavilion Investors, LLC, and JTB Homes. And I would like to extend our sincere gratitude for your consideration of the Pavilion Township Brownfield Tax Increment Finance Plan. Your support is instrumental in bringing our vision to life, and we deeply appreciate your commitment to the continued growth and development of Kalamazoo County. We are excited to move forward with our plans to bring 275 new housing units to the county, a project that we believe will significantly contribute to the area's economic vitality and community well-being. We are especially proud to dedicate a portion of these units to below market prices, ensuring that families who might not otherwise have the opportunity can call this neighborhood home. Those who we have spoken to at Pavilion Township are also excited about the added housing options and associated future revenue. The development will feature a mix of price points and product types, as well as amenities and sidewalks to create a welcoming and accessible community. Importantly, the affordable units will look and feel the same as the rest of the neighborhood, ensuring a cohesive and inclusive environment. Your approval of this plan is a big step forward for the county, and we are eager to make you proud with a development that enhances accessibility, livability, and economic diversity. Once again, thank you for your leadership and partnership. We look forward to working together to make this project a success and contribute positively to the future of Kalamazoo County. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Jared Lutz. I am with Michigan Growth Advisors. I also sit on the Kalamazoo County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board, but today I am here on behalf of the developer. Michigan Growth Advisors drafted this plan and the tables that are in front of you for consideration today. I know Jeff is the important one here and the more exciting one to hear from, but should you have any comments or questions, I'm happy to answer them. A little bit of history about me. So I previously worked at Southwest Michigan First. And this, when I was there doing attraction projects, helping to bring new projects into the county, this property, the Abbey property, as we called it, was a target property for us to bring in new projects. We could never land a project there, and this is the tool to help us realize the highest and best use of this property. So as a former economic developer, it makes me happy that somebody is taking that leap, and the state put forward a tool to allow us to do that and bring income qualified housing here into the county. So with that, I'll stop. Appreciate your time here tonight.
Thank you. Any others?
Good evening. I'm Ken Paragon, Chair of the Kalamazoo County Brownfield Redevelopment Authority Board. And I wanted to just express my appreciation for your involvement in this process. Vice Chair Taylor came to our board meeting last week, and we had a terrific discussion. We're excited about this project as the first project to come in on the new legislation allowing housing as a brownfield component, and we're hoping there'll be many more to come. This is an exciting one to get started with, and would appreciate your support of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none. Dina, is there anyone online?
There is not, Chair.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I'll close the public hearing. And then we can move to item 2025-306, resolution to adopt Pavilion Investors LLC Brownfield Plan. Moved by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Discussion, Vice Chair, and then Commissioner Kistler.
Yeah, I just wanted to say at our last meeting 2 weeks ago, Chair Strabs, you had some really good points as far as the affordability and putting that in place. And I had a great discussion with the land bank. This is the first project that's going through, but I think they've heard the message loud and clear as we're going to do more of these. And Act 325, the changing legislation to allow this for housing developments, it's a game changer. It really is. With the experience that our brownfield development has, with the partnership with our land bank and everything else, we've got the ability, and the fact that Michigan Growth Advisors is in our backyard, that helps too. But we've got the ability to really do some fundamental changes to housing, to economic development in this area with 325. And it seems like we're the only ones that I can see of. I looked around to other municipalities and other counties. I don't see other counties taking advantage of Act 325 the way that we are. And so that's a testament to our Brownfield Authority and their foresight to get in on this early. So kudos.
Commissioner Gissler.
Thank you, Chair. I won't even try to say what you just said so eloquently, John, but the whole idea of 325 now including residential, that's a big deal. And if nobody else is paying attention, I hope they continue to not pay attention. Thank you.
Anything else further? I'll give kudos as well. To Vice Chair, there was a productive discussion around affordability time period. We will not be seeing that within this plan, but it is something that I encourage the board to just be mindful of when we see future developments come forward, that we have an expectation about an established period of affordability. We're making public investment, so let's ensure some stability in that affordability. Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. So I was a part of that meeting last week too, and I did abstain because I had some concerns. And I do understand that we have to start somewhere, but just know in our next projects, we don't see some 30% AMI and I'm still here, even if I'm not, y'all will hear me stomping so that everyone can have a chance at new home ownership and not just, a property that has already been occupied and they're moving. So I think it looks like it's going to be a great investment. So tonight I will be supporting.
All right, seeing no further comment, so motion and support. Let's see, clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gissler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Yes.
9 yes.
That motion carries. Congratulations. All right, we do have a number of other items under 11 that we'll conduct now. We're going back to public comment. We have item 2025-403, request for approval and signature to amend housing fund agreement with Zion Place 4 LLC. And this is on page 9 of 10 if you're looking at your printed document, commissioners. We can have some discussion with a motion and support. Good. Motion made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Morales. And I will bring this to then discussion. So just to orient the board, Zion LLC property is one that we've provided some support through the housing millage. This is an amendment to the contract, and I don't know if housing can come forward, would like to come forward and share some details. Director Velkema, would you mind? Willa, I'm seeing you pointed at. Voluntold. You'll orient the board better than I'm going to, so thank you.
So this also is sort of in reference to the ARPA agreement. That will be the next item that's voted on, just for reference. But as we've discussed on previous projects that have even come forward tonight, development, including housing development, takes a long time. This project, which is the Legacy Senior Living Facility, has been years in the making, but finally broke ground this past Wednesday. As Administrator Catlin mentioned, there are approximately 19 sources of funding on this project. That's a lot of moving parts and different contracts and requirements. The City of Kalamazoo had a special meeting last night to amend their agreements that had been passed years ago. The spirit of the project has not changed since the housing millage funding agreement and ARPA funding agreement were originally passed. The development will still include 70 units of housing available to seniors on the north side neighborhood of Kalamazoo, all with rents affordable to households at or below 80% of area median income. The agreements are being amended to correspond to the 4% low-income tax credit portion of the project and to name the equity investor Stenair on all notices. So it's really, the spirit of the project is the same. This is just a minor amendment to language in the agreement.
Thank you, Willa. And so just to orient to the community as well, as we're implementing the housing millage, it is extremely complex and difficult to create affordable housing. As we just heard from the housing department articulate 19 different funding sources to help move this forward. And it was elevated that this was, the units are affordable at 80% of AMI and below, but I want to refine just in our detail what that means. So all of them are 80 and below, but this is one of the developments moving forward with more units at the lower end of the income bracket than we've been able to advance so far. So 21 of the one bedroom units are on the 4% side, are at 60% AMI, 8 of them at 50% AMI, 3 at 70. Those are all one bedroom units, and then two bedroom units at 70% AMI. That's what we're amending as articulated. And then there's a second side of the unit or the development that got a 9% low income housing tax credit that has 36 units in it. There are 3 one bedroom units at 20% AMI. We've advanced no units anywhere in the county at that low of an income rate. So that is a huge success to even advance units like that. 3 is not enough, but it is significant progress. 3 one bedroom units at 30% AMI, 17 one bedroom units at 60% AMI. And as is complicated, there are another 6 one bedroom units set at 60% AMI, but the county also advanced housing millage funds for vouchers for those units. So those 6 one bedroom units at 60 will actually become then affordable at the 30% AMI. How long our housing voucher supports that rent is not exactly solidified, but it should be approximately 15 years, okay? That's what we would expect to see. So 15-year affordability for another 6 units at 30% AMI. Now I'm rattling a lot of numbers, but they're just important to elevate. 5 one bedroom units at 80% AMI and 2 bedroom units at 80% AMI. This is built in the urban core of the community, focused on seniors' needs. So I just wanted to make sure this came to non-consent, just so we need to clarify and elevate the affordability that got accomplished to the community. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Gisler.
Yes, Chair. I want to congratulate you on leading us through the numbers that you just did. You know, it's a lot easier for Willa to say, well, there are 19 different factors here. But yeah, she took the easy way out. Of course, she studied at the knee of Mary, and you've put some teeth on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll give credit back to the housing department. It's data that they provided. So thankfully I learned to read. So I've got it for tonight. Thank you for that, though. Anything further? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is item 2025-410, request for approval and signature of amendment to the ARPA loan agreement for Zion Place 4 LLC. Same project we have just discussed, just the other funding source. Motion made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Our last here in unfinished business is item 2025-420. So request for approval to authorize the board chair to draft and sign letters supporting internet service providers, broadband equity, access and deployment grant applications on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Okay. Thank you, Vice Chair. Which page is that one on so I can read it? Oh, there it is. I found it. And we have one more item on unfinished business, the agenda item moved by Vice Chair, item 2025-323. Request for approval to authorize board chair to seek legal opinion from the Attorney General through Senator Sean McCann. Motion made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Morales. Is there discussion? Seeing none, you'd like a roll call? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
That motion carries. Okay. That resolves our unfinished business. We're now going to move back to item 8, which is our opportunity for public comment. Is there any member of the public wishing to make public comment? Seeing none, Dina, is there anyone online?
No, there is not, Chair.
Thank you. All right, we will go ahead and end the opportunity for public comment, which brings us to item 12, an opportunity for public comment. Seeing none, Dina, do we have anyone online?
No, Chair, we do not.
Oh, we did. Oh, I did. I'm getting a support there from Vice Chair Pro Tem. I got so excited about back-to-back public comment. I failed the consent agenda is item number 9. Entertain a motion for approval of consent agenda.
I move that all items be voted on a one time by the Board of Commissioners and be considered consent agenda by the board.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Wheeler. There is no discussion. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Morales? Commissioner Ray?
Yes.
Chair Strips?
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler?
Yes.
Commissioner DeLue?
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler?
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer?
Yes.
9 yes.
That motion carries. Right. I suppose just in due diligence, well, I'll offer again as 12, public comment. Seeing none online, we'll close public comment. We'll move to item 13, reports of the officers, body, and administrator controller. All right, so I'll be brief this evening. I want to elevate Kalamazoo County government continues to work to advance solutions in what is a growing difficult environment. Earlier this week, Vice Chair Pro Tem helped to convene our first session of the Intergovernmental Roundtable. This body will be meeting on a monthly basis to discuss issues of relevance to our local units of government, seeking opportunities to understand the challenges that each of our units face, find opportunities to collaborate, to problem solve, to build strength together, to advocate together. And I think in the time in front of us, having open lines of communication are really important as we work to advance and protect our local community. We saw today the movement of our brownfield plan addressing affordable housing and the event center ordinance, which will help fund a hard court facility. I'm hopeful that these Both will be successful. I'm hopeful that the hard court will continue to bring the expected travel revenue in. I am, cautious about the economics in the near to midterm in our community, but I'm hopeful that we will find a way to persevere over those. I also today had an opportunity to attend another graduation ceremony of the Ignite program in collaboration with the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Fuller and his team graduated another cohort of 12 residents of the jail who went through I believe it's a 10-week extensive program that focused on health, welfare, emotional well-being, economic understanding. We celebrated one of the participants obtaining his GED. We heard from one of the participants who I think elevated that he had been incarcerated for at one point a period of 22 years of his life and have been in and out of incarceration dozens of times, with a very hopeful message that it was really the first time he came through a period of incarceration where he felt empowered and supported and like he had a plan in front of him that was more than just, I'll figure it out, which turned into a way that just brought him back to jail when he tried to figure it out. Now he feels like he really could figure it out and knows who to go to when he needs support. So that's a very uplifting program. We heard from Sheriff Swanson from Genesee County, who helped initiate the Ignite program in Flint, spoke as well. So my congratulations to all of the graduates and all of their families and the supporting programs that come in and help support the young men that went through this program this time. Last thing I'll elevate is that we have community protests that are happening on April the 5th in a variety of state capitals. All of us in the community should be concerned at the erosion of civil liberties, civil rights, and our Constitution. When people who are not considered citizens lose the opportunity for due process before they are deported and incarcerated in jails around the world. Really, if we're okay with that, we're really saying we're okay with citizens losing that right, because any citizen could be garnered up and then not have the due process to advocate that they are citizens with due process rights. So that, among many other concerning actions at the federal level, I encourage all of you, we have to stop underreacting and recognize we have to protect our Constitution and our democratic order. With that, I hope all of you stay safe in the storms and thank all of our responders who look out for all of us. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, as the chair said, we had our first intergovernmental roundtable meeting. I think it went well. Sort of more of a trying to get things together, our next meeting time, how we're going to do our topics of agenda, questions to be asked. But I think it really stresses the importance, if we can speak with one voice, with all our villages and cities and townships, one voice to our legislative in the state level and then the federal level, from muni bond cuts to all these different things that are coming down the pipe, that we maybe be able to mitigate some of the cuts. And that's what I'm hopeful for. I still remain hopeful after our first meeting. Secondly, what we accomplished tonight was really, really cool. 36,000 room nights are now coming into Kalamazoo County, a hardcore facility where research was done to understand that in our regional area, this was our sweet spot. This was how we were going to get those room nights. And the years spent on researching that data to provide this plan and everything else really put together a good plan to move that. And then our Pavilion Estates with our brownfield. I'm excited about that too. As Commissioner Gissler was saying, Act 325, the changes in legislation are a game changer for economic development, for housing, and for everything else. We've got so much potential. And I mean, at least in Southwest Michigan, I think we're the only ones leading the bull by the horns, specifically with economic development in Brownfield. I think we're doing a great job. Continue to move the residents of Kalamazoo County and make it I'm going to steal Jeff Hepler's line, make it a good place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. I think we have done a lot, and I am proud of this board and proud of our community and the hard work that goes into keeping this a great place to live, work, and play. Our administration has done a yeoman's job of a lot of projects that we are either have completed or are working on. We've got a lot more to do. We need to thank all of those folks here at this table and that work for our county and work for our various communities, our villages, our cities, our townships. All the men and women from our military that protect us here and abroad, and our men and women who work diligently and have been, as we've seen since they've been working forever. But Sunday, they had to put a lot into it. There was a major amount of damage to our county. We're still recovering in many places, getting power back, cleaning up from the storms that came through on Sunday. Another round is scheduled for tomorrow. So we may get them put back together and may not, but we need to have folks protect themselves, their family, themselves, their neighbors, and their communities. Support your local fire and police and your ambulance services who've tried to keep us all safe. We need everyone to be mindful of that. Keep an eye on your neighbors, especially your elderly neighbors. There was some serious tragedies over this Sunday and a lot of damage throughout the county. So please watch out for your friends and neighbors and have a safe week. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem. Administrator Catlin.
All right. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners, audience. First, I'd like to give a quick update regarding the inclement weather expected this Wednesday. Our emergency management team is encouraging residents to stay home if they're able to during that time, as we're anticipating additional severe inclement weather with sustained conditions similar to what we experienced on Sunday. Emergency crews will be ready and standing by to respond. I also want to remind everyone to stay connected to credible sources of information. Indiana, Michigan Power, Midwest Energy and Communications, and Consumers Energy are all actively sharing safety tips via their social media channels. So please check those periodically, as well as the county resources and social media as well. Also, if you don't already have one, I strongly encourage you to invest in a weather radio to stay informed during power outages. A lot of them are battery powered should your power fail. We've issued a press release also highlighting preparedness tips, which was shared with local media earlier this afternoon. Next, a quick update on our parking garage project. So staff are currently working on a request for proposals for construction manager services. This individual or firm will work very closely with the building authority throughout the project, keeping them apprised of the key developments and seeking their input at each stage. While the building authority does not have the full-time capacity to manage construction directly, we are committed to keeping them engaged and informed as the garage takes shape. The last item I have is just wanting to raise your attention to the need of scheduling our annual budget retreat. I know it's only April, but time flies here. So this session is obviously a valuable opportunity for you all to develop and refine your budget priorities in alignment with the county strategic plan. Historically, we've held this retreat in July. That timing allows departments some space to submit new funding requests, which then you can consider as part of your priority setting process. process for the upcoming fiscal year. So just keep that in the back of your mind. So we'll start sharing some dates for July, and then we'll kind of circle back and solidify that at a later date. And that's all I have this evening for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. And I'll just add one thing I forgot to share during my comments. We've put a media release about it, but the Environmental Protection Agency did rescind a federal grant that Kalamazoo County received over 18, thank you, I was like, is 18 or 18? $18 million that were rescinded. I want to express our regret at that. The county government will continue to evaluate our response to threatened and removed federal funding. We're not going to give up on climate resiliency or protecting our community as we go forward. So thank you for that. All right, with this, maybe we'll mix it up. Would you like to go first, Commissioner?
I'd be honored. Thank you, Chair. I'm going to echo the sentiment as Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Please be safe tomorrow as these storms hit. This past Sunday, there was a family who unfortunately lost 3 members of their family and in a horrific tragedy. So please do your best to stay safe. I know it can be difficult. Try to stay aware. And other than that, I'm very proud of this board and looking forward to seeing what we can continue to do in 2025 and hoping that maybe we can figure some stuff out with some funding. Thank you.
Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. Same sentiments. Be safe out there. I will have to say Sunday was very scary to see that win head on. Condolences to the lives that we lost, and thank you to our first responders. I know, like right before the storm, we were at Meyer and all the utility trucks were out there ready. So I appreciate Kalamazoo County and who's ever organizing that to make sure that we have restored power and folks are taken care of. Millwood was hit pretty hard, but I tell you, we got out there, folks were tarping roofs and helping, our elderly get those sticks and, scraps up out of their yard and out the street, but we're still taped off. It looks like a crime scene over there. So, and I hope that places of employment take this serious too, and maybe let, who can, some folks can't let their workers off, but our schools and things like that. Good thing the kids are on spring break this week, but for the colleges, I hope they take that into consideration and allow people to be leave early so that they can be home with their families. Other than that, great job from the board. I'm looking forward to a lot of the new projects coming in the area. Have a good night.
Thank you, Commissioner Mazer.
Just a couple of things. I too, as most of you have said, I'm very proud of what we are accomplishing as a board, and I'm proud to serve with each and every one of you. I'll look down this way too. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Gisler.
Thank you, Chair. I have only one thing I want to mention, and it's not directly related to county business. It's related to the Kalamazoo Citizens for Responsible Government, who on the 14th of the month will have a breakfast meeting at Mark's Diner, used to be Michelle's, on Romance. And our speaker is going to be Nick Culp, who's the communications honcho for Palisades. And he spoke to us way back when he was talking about shutting down Palisades. He's talked to us more recently about opening Palisades. And he's also going to this time talk about not only the continuing effort to open the Palisades nuclear plant, but the fact that there's a joint venture, it's probably adventurous too, between Holtec, the owner of Palisades, and Hyundai Engineering, who apparently they're going to get together and put on the same footprint not only the new revitalized Palisades plant, but they're going to bring 2 small modular reactors in. So, and I understand, I don't know enough about energy to speak with any authority, but I understand that looks like the way things are going to go. Instead of building massive Palisades 800 gigawatt facilities, they're going to build a whole lot of these 300 gigawatt facilities and scatter those around, and we'll maybe make up for the fact that we're eliminating coal plants constantly. And there's nothing cleaner than nuclear. Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of people have alluded to the tragedy on Sunday with the children getting killed, and I want to reach out to the first responders and let them know that I'm thinking about them, and I hope others are. The sheriff's department, the fire, EMS. There's a few of us on this board that realize what it's like to pull up on something like that, and the trauma and the stress that our first responders go through. You know, they're expected to be with it, top of the line, which most are, but I mean, they're human. And it's, I'm sure it's had a huge impact on everybody that responded to that scene. So I just want to give a special thanks to them. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I just quietly wanted to ask permission, but I do want to recognize that same sentiment elevated by Commissioner DeLu, that our Commissioner Wheeler and her boyfriend were first responders on the scene immediately at that accident and interacted directly with that family. So we just want to elevate, we thank her for her work and for her perseverance and for making sure she takes care of herself in the face of all of it as well. All right. With that, do we have anything else before the board? We are adjourned.